Vlado always considered himself a climber. Even when he didn't touch a rock for 12 years, the inner desire to climb remained. His friend Stanley brought him back to mountain climbing when he tried to persuade Vlado to climb El Capitan. It was as if Stanley was calling him to space. 7 years have passed since then, and Vlado has experienced 3 beautiful trips to Yosemite with friends and fellow climbers Stanley, Igor, Oleg, and Ivo.
Sme tu.
Vlado never considered himself a sailor. In 2000, when camping in Croatia, he used to watch the anchored sailboats and considered them to be like cars in a camp. He had no idea that 3 years later, the Adriatic Sea would soon be too small for him. In 2007, he didn't know how to sail the ocean, and the Mediterranean Sea looked huge enough to sail forever. Then in 2008, Vlado decided to sail across the Atlantic. 7 years passed, and during these 7 amazing years, Vlado crossed the Atlantic Ocean 6 times and circumnavigated the world. In the winter of 1983, Vlado and 2 friends climbed in the Italian Dolomites. A 1,000 meters high northwest wall of the mountain he climbed had the name Civita. The experience was so powerful that it still remains with him. There was no doubt when he named the 11-meter-long yacht, in which he first crossed the Atlantic Ocean, that her name would be Civita, and her 14-meter-long successor, Civita II. It was Stanley who was on board for the first crossing of the Atlantic Ocean. After spending 26 days on the ocean, they arrived on the island of Santa Lucia. There, they saw the blue flags of the World Cruising Club flying on the masts of yachts preparing to circumnavigate the world. It aroused Vlado's curiosity. Destiny had brought him to another step in his yachting career, and he decided to climb.
Oceánsky jachting je nesmierne náročný na logistiku. Plachty musia byť v 100% stave, vrátane náhradných, a schopnosť ich kombinovať je nesmierne dôležitá. Takisto motor a takisto kormidlo sú životne dôležité pre loď. Navigácia, komunikácia, záchranné prostriedky a elementárna zdravoveda. To je abeceda oceánskeho jachtára. Loď je počas plavby vašim domovom, kde spíte, varíte, žijete, robíte opravu a údržbu. Výroba elektriky, dostatok vody, dostatok pohonných hmôt a plynu je nikdy nekončiacou starosťou oceánskeho jachtára. Zoznam položiek, ktorý som mal pred plavbou, bol viac ako 200. Tým, že som plával 2-krát do Karibiku a späť cez Atlantický oceán, som už mal svoj zoznam, ktorý som si teraz iba rozšíril. Primárne vedomosti som získaval od svojho oceánskeho guru Bobbyho Schenka a z jeho knihy Oceánsky jachting. Z každej kapitoly som si robil zoznam vybavenia, ktoré som potom zháňal a montoval na loď. Príprava mi trvala 2 roky.
Vlado's journey started by again crossing the Atlantic Ocean with its typically changing wind forces with untypically curious cargo ships. This brought them to the Caribbean island of Santa Lucia, where the Around the World Rally was set to start. With a strong following wind, the crew sailed the Caribbean Sea to Panama in 7 days. The untouched nature of the Palm Islands of San Blas was in contrast to the 100-year-old Panama Canal. The sailors were amazed by the logistics and the intensity of shipping in the canal lock between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans. With 350-meter-long ships next to them, they felt like ants next to elephants. Vlado read a lot about the Pacific Ocean. There is so much marine history that it made his head spin. 500 years ago, Cortez was sailing there and burnt his ships to make sure his men wouldn't even think about returning home. Captain Cook also sailed the Pacific.
A zrazu sme tam boli. Tichý oceán. Wow.
The Galapagos Islands were the first stop on a 9,000-mile-long cruise through the Pacific Ocean. After crossing the equator, they have anchored on the island of San Cristobal. Leg to the Marquesas Islands was 3,000 miles long. 4 men in a confined space, all by themselves. If something goes wrong, they have to deal with it on their own. Kitchen duties, everyday deck control, following the sailing course and checking the surroundings of the ship at night are all equally divided responsibilities. Dinner is festive and a highlight of every day. Supplies of food and drink for a long voyage need to be sufficient.
Skúste si porovnať víkendový nákup štvorčlennej rodiny a porovnajte to ku 4 chlapom a 3 týždňom.
After 3 weeks, they finally anchored. The gorgeous, often untouched nature of civilization, friendly locals, and a cruise between the islands in the atolls in French Polynesia, from Marquesas through Tahiti to Bora Bora, brought them back to the times of Captain Cook, 250 years ago. They swam in azure blue water with the residents of the Coral Islands.
Mali sme ale aj starosti. Na lodi sa vždy čosi pokazí. Prasklo nám predné oceľové lano a na čo som zvlášť hrdý, že sa nám to podarilo opraviť na kotve a to lano, ktoré sme opravili, je na lodi doteraz. Údržba propeleru sa dá robiť iba pod vodou. Informácie o vstupe do atolov sme získavali aj od domácich. Najčastejšie s nimi komunikovali Jožko.
Opaningia ie pupuhi. Ite ava. Ite vahi ta ava. Oké, speriamo bene.
The ocean they were sailing was named Pacific by Fernando Magalhães, the first European who sailed these waters 500 years ago. During the first 3 months of sailing, hasn't seen a storm. The experience was different the closer they were to Australia and further to the west. There was more wind, and the waves were more recognizable. At Tonga, a storm hit so strongly they had to move anchor to deeper waters. Gale force winds hit them at Fiji, and they experienced relief only after anchoring on the island of Tanna, Vanuatu.
V ostrom kontraste s premedlivým počasím bol pobyt na Zemi. Tongu by som nazval kráľovstvom prasiat. Fidži, aj keď precivilizované, s nádherným pobrežím. Pri pohľade na domorodé obyvateľstvo na ostrove Tanna pod činnou sopkou jasúr som žasol. A ten detský spevokol, na to sa nedá zabudnúť.
It seemed as if the Pacific Ocean wanted to remind the sailors that it is still an ocean to reckon with. The wind was getting stronger, and cruising was more and more sporty before Australia. Migrating birds rested on the ship to protect themselves from the strong wind. When friends from the other ship were with them, Vlado shared a recipe for Segadin goulash.
Paprika und scharfe Sachen, Chili und Salz einzugeben, weiter.
Dann brauchst du das Sauerkraut drin zu geben und mit Wasser einfüllen, oder?
Sauerkraut rein, Wasser drauf und das Ganze dann wahrscheinlich durchkochen.
There were many navigational pitfalls awaiting the sailors in the Great Barrier Reef, but the cruising was much calmer. They stayed in Mackay Cairns, passed through Torres Strait to the Indian Ocean, and said goodbye to Antipodes and Darwin.
Plávali sme s veľrybami. Pri kotvení, ale aj v mangrovníkoch sme videli krokodíly. A život s nimi je pre niekoho úplne bežný. Deň pred vstupom do Torresovej úžiny sme kotvili v rieke Escape River. Ráno, na môj úžas, pred loďou plával krokodil. Tak to tam bolo.
The sailing legs in the Indian Ocean were longer with fewer breaks. They visited Bali, Cocos Keeling Islands, Mauritius, and Reunion. Sailing 2,400 miles from the Coco Islands to Mauritius took 17 days. Not even wind or waves could stop them from baking bread.
Najtvrdšia etapa bola z Reunionu do Južnej Afriky. Výchrica o sile 50 uzlov trvala 30 hodín a potom ešte prišli dve menšie búrky. Čas sme si snažili krátiť varením, ktoré patrilo k tým lepším okamžikom. Na Reunione sme načerpali špinavé palivo a dvakrát nám zlyhal motor. Našťastie sa nám to podarilo vyriešiť výmenou filtrov. Humor sme ale nepostrádali.
No Marko, skús povedať jedno. 333 stříbrných stříkaček přestříkalo 333 stříbrných střech.
Allora, 33 trentini entrarono in Trento, tutti e 33 trotterellando.
Oh!
After landing in Africa, Vlado was indescribably happy.
Low to the water because the docks are very low. Over.
Understood.
Okay, so let's go in front of you, and if you just follow our wake, that'll be fantastic.
A warm welcome from friends impressed him so much, he had to be alone for a minute. His feelings were very strong. Sailing legend Jimmy Cornell writes about two big challenges a yachtsman cruising the world has to face. They are the Cape Horn in South America and the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa, where Vlado's crew is sailing now.
Agulhasov prúd, tiahnúci sa popri pobreží Južnej Afriky smerom na juhozápad, je široký niekoľko míl a má rýchlosť viac než 5 uzlov. Je to doslova rieka v oceáne. V priemere každé 3 až 5 dní prichádza z Antarktidy tlaková níž. Je sprevádzaná vetrom až do rýchlosti 100 km za hodinu, ktorý pôsobí proti vlnám, proti prúdu. Byť v tom čase tam môže mať fatálne následky. Taktika spočíva v čakaní na koniec zlého počasia a ihneď s nástupom dobrého vyplávať. Vzdialenosti medzi jednotlivými prístavmi s chránenými marinami sú v jednom prípade 2 dní plavby. Treba prejsť etapu a v prístave počkať, kým prehrmí veterná smršť. Takto sa nám zlému počasiu podarilo vyhnúť 2-krát.
Before they again sailed away, Vlado had to put the boat in order. They cleaned the oil tank, changed the oil in the engine and in the gear, set up new V-belts, and cleaned the air filter. They were staying in Durban. They also went on safari in Port Elizabeth.
Sedeli sme v nekrytých autách niekoľko metrov od čeliem. Najprv som si myslel, že je to žart, tak som všetkým povedal, že chcem sedieť v strede. Sedeli sme totiž v nekrytých autách pár metrov od čeliem. Tie si nás ale vôbec nevšímali, nepovažovali nás za korisť. Napriek tomu, veľmi som si istý nebol.
They went diving in a great white shark cage in Mosel Bay. The guide was attracting the predators with a tuna's head hanging at the end of the rope.
Sprievodca mal prax. Návnadu držal pred klietkou a ako sa žralok k nej blížil, zdvihol ju nad hladinu. Žralok bol rozbehnutý, nestihol vybrať zákrutu a narazil do klietky. On nevie cúvať, takže tlačil sa dopredu, zametal chvostom a vyzeralo to ako v hororových filmoch. My sme toto všetko pod vodou horlivo fotili, neuvedomujúci, že celé toto nádherné divadlo prebieha meter od nás.
After sailing around the Cape of Good Hope, they entered the waters of the South Atlantic Ocean and moored in Cape Town Marina. Several days of rest in Cape Town were used to explore the area. They toured through the hilly landscape, a less populated region where the finest wine is being made. From the Cape of Good Hope, they had a view of both the Indian and South Atlantic Oceans. They did not take part in the local sparring matches. The ship also received some well-deserved attention.
Opravovali sme poškodené zábradlie. Robili sme poriadok v lanách a plachtách. Marko dokonca niektoré vypral. Špeciálnu pozornosť som venoval hliníkovým spojom rollerefu. Stanley hore na sťažni a ja dole pod ním sme naťahovali nový kábel Windmetra, nakoľko ten starý bol pretrhnutý. Kávičku sme si zaslúžili. Urobili sme aj nové prepojenie windpilota s kormidlom.
In Cape Town, they could pull the boat out of the water at last, clean it and paint it. Watching the new hull made Vlado very happy. Before leaving, they stocked up on supplies. The list is always long.
Mášmit, mlieko v prášku, chleba, sír, maslo, hajzlak, servítky, cíp, šampón, pranie, WC čistič, smetné sačky, cukor, strúhanka, zavarané uhorky, ovocné konzervy, kokos, prášková smotana, sol, bujon, čerstvá zelenina a ovocie, koláče na pečenie, sladké, Nutella, smotana, kola, pivo, ústna voda, cestoviny, olej, olivák, vajcia, káva, jogurt, osaky, cesnak, cibula, klobasa, slanina, sírup, zemiaky, med, jalapeňos.
It's been really hard work. The time to leave has come at last. On January 10th, 2015, they set sail to the South Atlantic Ocean. They had a 2-week-long cruise to the island of St. Helena, with 2 weeks of sailing to Brazil ahead of them. After overcoming the navigational and meteorological pitfalls in the Pacific and Indian Oceans, the Atlantic Ocean was a reward. Sailing with a mild wind from behind in stable weather without any storms is characteristic for this area. The South Atlantic doesn't have any hurricanes. They were finally enjoying yachting.
Nebolo to ale zadarmo. Mali sme problémy s autopilotom, šili rozpáraný lem Genakra, opravovali sme peň počas plavby, vymieniali plyn a cvičili sa v astronavigácii. Pri odchode na Atlantický oceán sme prekročili 0. poludník. Teraz sme ho prekročili opäť. A poriadne sme to oslávili.
Vítajme na západnej pologuli.
Hladom sme netrpeli. Varenie rozvíjalo našu kreativitu.
After 13 days of peaceful and comfortable cruising, they saw the island of St. Helena. It is one of the few places on Earth where until recently there wasn't an airport. The only connection to the world used to be by sea. They checked their mooring float and went to the shore. To their surprise, the island is beautifully green. This is where Napoleon Bonaparte died. But the biggest adventure was swimming with a whale shark. After 3 days, they have refueled and continued on to Brazil. It was again a calm and undisturbed cruise with a tailwind and stable weather and mostly full sails.
A predsa čo si narušilo jednotvárnosť? Myslím si, že je to potrebné povedať. Porušil som všetky zásady bezpečnosti. Pri umývaní vzadu na lodi som sa neuviazal. More bolo kľudné, boli sme na motore. V živote by ma nenapadlo, že sa toto môže stať. Pri oblívaní vedrom sa toto roztrhlo a ja v snahe zachytiť ho som vypadol von, pričom som si aj porezal ruku. A zrazu som bol vonku, mimo lode, v oceáne, nahý, krvácajúc. Vôbec som si neuvedomil, že mi hrozí nebezpečenstvo až späť na lodi. Iba rýchla reakcia totiž Stana, Jacka a Fera mi zachránili život. Chalani, ďakujem.
The rest of the voyage proceeded without incident, and after 12 days they saw the skyscrapers of Salvador. They only had to land and they were in Brazil. It was time to put things in order. Carnival is a big event in Brazil. They arrived in Salvador just on time for the festival. From Salvador, they continued on to Fortaleza. In the marina, they were very precariously tied to dilapidated pontoons that moved a lot when hit by waves. Restocking was complicated, and days went by quickly. They sailed the last 1,700 miles to the Caribbean with a good wind and in a great mood. They were back in the Northern Hemisphere after 13 months. It was time to celebrate.
Prekračujeme rovník. We crossed equator.
Miles went by, and after 12 days they tied the boat in Port Louis on the Caribbean island of Grenada.
Jednou zo základných vecí údržby aj morálky je udržiavanie čistoty. A ja som neudržoval len loď v čistom stave, ale aj posádku.
Nearing the end, the ship still needed attention. Fixing the roll reefing equipment, maintaining the propeller, the outboard engine, and tidying the whole ship took several days. But they could not miss visiting the Caribbean beaches. They made it. After 15 months, Chavita 2 was again in Santa Lucia, where the circumnavigation began. They weren't worried that they still faced a difficult leg going home through the northern Atlantic. They festively decorated the ship and celebrated with others. They successfully circumnavigated the world. The sad thing in life is that good things pass by quickly. After crossing the Atlantic with a stop in the Azores, they tied off near Gibraltar Rock, the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea. The cruise has ended. They have crossed 5 oceans, the Atlantic and Pacific, Indian, South, and at last, the Northern Atlantic Ocean. They sailed 35,000 miles. They stayed at 94 ports and anchorages. The time spent on the ship was 680 days long, 293 of it while sailing.
Horolezectvo a jachting sú si veľmi podobné. Myslím pocitovo. Ja viem, že pri lezení sa nedá utopiť a pri plávaní sa nedá spadnúť zo skaly. Ale oceán aj hory sú živly, kde sme odkazaní sami na seba. Ak sa čosi domrví, musíme si s tým poradiť sami. Nikto nám nepomôže. Pocit neustáleho napätia a vnútorného strehu je rovnaký. A ten pocit obrovskej radosti, či už na vrchole, alebo po ukončení ťažkej etapy, ten je neopísateľný.
Bomba, chalani, díky, že ste ma sem dostali.
Je to ten pravý svet, nie virtuálny. Keď som sa zamlada venoval horolezectvu, Himalaje boli mojím snom. Bolo to také prirodzené završenie môjho úsilia. Pre nedostatok pevnej vôle som sa tam nikdy nedostal. Jachting mi umožnil môj horolezecký sen, moje jachtárske Himalaje si splniť.